feel like there's very little accountability when it comes to the Indian Affairs Division, the Attorney General's Division, and the governor when it comes to murdered, missing Indigenous people. Because at one time, New Mexico was the leading leader in task forces, and now we're completely disbanded.
It's been about a year since Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham dissolved the Missing and Murdered Indigenous People Task Force, but there have been calls to restore it ever since.
Tonight, the Indian Affairs Department is hosting a listening session at the UNM School of Law on the topic. The floor will be open for anyone to voice your concerns.
Jacqueline Aragon spoke with an attorney who was part of that task force and now represents families who have lost a loved one.
So, Jacqueline, what did she have to say ahead of the session tonight?
Well, Danielle, Julie, Attorney Darlene Gomez says there's a number of issues, starting with the location. The session is going to be in Albuquerque, but the greatest number of missing or unmurdered Indigenous people in our state are from Gallup, Farmington, and the Navajo Nation. And she feels it's highly unlikely that people will travel at least 3 to 4 hours to get here in time.
I'm calling on our state legislatures and our Indian Affairs Division, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, to enact a murdered and missing Indigenous women and relatives task force that was very similar to the one that was initiated in 2020.
That task force was disbanded last October. Since then, Attorney Darlene Gomez and other members of the Indigenous community have called for a revamp of the force.
House Bill 12 and 13, they were supposed to create a task force, and they were also supposed to hire someone who was going to be actively working MMIP cases, which I don't believe they've done so. I think they were also awarded $1 million to go to tribes to implement their own MMIP divisions, which has not happened.
Gomez says the state isn't living up to its promises.
Currently, the Secretary Josette Monet promised them that they would have these quarterly sessions that would allow the community to answer questions and to be united, and that has not happened. So that is a direct failure.
Tonight, the Indian Affairs Department is holding a listening session, giving people a chance to voice their concerns and ask questions.
I plan to use all 3 hours if I need to. If there's not other people speaking, I've contacted the families I represent that I'm going to announce tomorrow on their behalf.
But the question is, will any changes be made following this session?
Hope. I mean, that's all I have. I hope that I'm able to set out some different solutions that we can all work together. And I'm just hoping that someday we'll be able to have that same task force we had in the past.
Gomez plans to speak out until the changes she's pushing for happen.
If they choose not to listen, and then I'll go the route of bringing it to the national media that has been very effective in the past.
If you're interested in participating in this session, it will be held at the UNM School of Law this evening from 5 to 8. And today we'll be working to hear from the Indian Affairs Department and the Governor's office about this.